Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Saturday, it's November 16th. Today is day 407 since October 7th of last year. I'm still in Jericho in Palestine, and today was day 2 of our Women's And Still We Rise Summit. Yesterday, we had more than 100 people gathered, including dignitaries, pastors, priests, men, who joined us, more than 100 people. Today, more than 80 women stayed for our weekend of meeting together, praying, struggling, crying, laughing, working together towards peace. Today's focus was on spirituality, family and community, healing and resilience. It was a moving and powerful day as international and Palestinian women gathered together, seeking what makes for peace. My prayer as I share the news of this past day, on this 407th day of chaos, violence, death, and destruction after massive killings, is from Psalms chapter 82, verse 2 through 4. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the weak and the fatherless. Uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. Rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. So as I share the news of the past 24 hours, I share it to speak truth. I heard from the head and founder of PASIA, Dr. Mahdi, this week. He said, if truth is not spoken, it will be lost. And so I share this news in that spirit, but also as a prayer. In Gaza, the local press has said that the Israeli army released 20 prisoners through the Kerem Shalom checkpoint in the past couple of days. They arrived at the European hospital east of Khan Yunis. Most of them were previously arrested from hospitals and areas in the north of the Gaza Strip. A Human Rights Watch report on Thursday said that the IDF had forced nearly 90% of residents in Gaza, that's approximately 1.9 million people, to evacuate their homes, often more than once, with, quote, no plausible imperative military reason to justify, end quote, the mass displacement. The report added that, quote, such acts also constitute crimes against humanity, end quote. Medics in Gaza said that Israeli strikes killed 10 Palestinians and wounded at least 20 others on Saturday, that's today, at a former school building in Gaza City's Shati refugee camp that was sheltering displaced families. The health ministry in Gaza said the death toll there is at least 43,799 Palestinians killed and 103,601 wounded since the start of the war. In the West Bank, there have been numerous incidents over past days. Dozens of masked settlers entered the village of Beit Farik, east of Nablus, and caused significant damage to property, according to the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces. A security source said the settlers are suspected of originating from the settlement of Itamar and setting fire to homes and a car in the village. Israeli ground forces and the Air Force have struck over 160 targets in Lebanon and the Gaza Strip in the last 24 hours, the IDF spokesperson said. These targets included rocket launchers that fired rockets towards northern Israel this week, as well as buildings and warehouses used for weapons storage, according to the IDF report. The IDF said that on Thursday, a couple of days ago, starting in 2025, reservists will be expected to be called up for at least 42 days of operational duty each year. And on Friday, the defense minister, Israel Katz, confirmed that 7,000 draft notices are being sent to the ultra-Orthodox recruits. You may recall previously, prior to the last year, ultra-Orthodox citizens of Israel were not required to serve in the Israeli army, but that has changed because of recent laws. The army said the ultra-Orthodox enlistment rate has remained negligible despite over 3,000 conscription orders being issued since the start of the war. And in recent months, 930 arrest warrants have been issued for ultra-Orthodox men who did not report for enlistment. That's all, of course, in Israel. Demonstrations calling for hostage deal will be held in Israel across the state tonight, Saturday evening, with rallies set to take place in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and the southern city of Beersheba. A protest vigil for hostages is also set to occur in Haifa. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke yesterday, Friday, with the Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar. He's the new foreign minister after that change up a couple of weeks ago. And he, quote, urged Israel to take steps to accelerate and sustain the delivery of life-saving assistance, end quote, to Gaza. In Jerusalem, the Palestinian Minister of Jerusalem Affairs reported that Israel has demolished more than 183 buildings in East Jerusalem since the beginning of this year. So in the last 11 months, 183 buildings in East Jerusalem have been demolished. 33 of those have been in the town of Silwan. Silwan is in East Jerusalem. It's a village just in the valley outside of the old city of Jerusalem. The Palestinian Ministry of Jerusalem Affairs says, quote, Israel aims to erase the Al-Bustan neighborhood in East Jerusalem, of which 1,550 Palestinians call home. They seek to erase it from the map in a process that amounts to a war crime and ethnic cleansing. The Lebanese state media reported that the Israeli ground forces reached their deepest point in Lebanon since starting their ground operations 6 weeks ago, but that they pulled back following battles with Hezbollah militants. And according to the Ministry of Health in Lebanon, 59 people have been killed and 182 people wounded on Thursday, November 14th. At that point, the death toll in Lebanon since the war began in October was 3,445 killed, 14,599 wounded. 6 people were killed, including 3 children, and 11 wounded in an Israeli airstrike on the village of Lebanon's Baalbek in the last couple of days. And the Israeli army said today that they released the name of a combat soldier, an Israeli soldier who was killed in South Lebanon yesterday. The IDF's Arabic-speaking spokesperson warned residents of an additional 15 villages in South Lebanon to evacuate, and the Israeli army said that today 70 rockets were fired from Lebanon into Israel since midnight. Regarding the American administration's proposal for Lebanon, the parliament speaker in Lebanon, Barry, told an Arabic-speaking newspaper that the American proposal does not include any kind of freedom of movement for the Israeli army in Lebanon, nor does it include the deployment of NATO or other forces. The American proposal includes a text that is not acceptable to Lebanon, that part is in quotes, which is the issue of forming a committee to supervise the implementation of Resolution 1701, which includes a number of Western countries. Discussions are currently underway regarding the proposed alternative mechanism. Progress is being made, he said. The atmosphere is positive. The results will ultimately speak for themselves. Barry, said that on the Israeli targeting against areas that support him, it seems that Netanyahu does not know who he's dealing with and that such things won't work with us. In Syria, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad announced that 2 of its senior members were killed in an Israeli airstrike on Damascus on Friday and that their bodies were recovered today. Iran's official news agency reported that Tehran categorically denied that its UN envoy met with Elon Musk in New York. The New York Times reported on Thursday that Musk, an advisor to the US president-elect Donald Trump, had met with Iran's ambassador to the United Nations on Monday, but Iran's official news agency categorically denied that happening. So that's the news coming from the Middle East. Honestly, from that perspective, there does not seem to be much hope on the horizon, but there are a lot of moving pieces with political dynamics shifting. I can say, in speaking to people on the ground, that the facts here are quite desperate, but the people are really, really incredible people, willing to pray for peace and to work toward that end. And so I ask that you join us in that endeavor. May God go before us in the name of Christ. Amen.